and welcome to my preview looking ahead to this weekend's Miami Grand Prix. So, another track in the US. Obviously, Formula One going to Miami this weekend, later on in the year in Texas, and then next year, three Grand Prix in the US. Obviously, Miami, Texas, then and also in Las Vegas as well. So, Formula One, you get the impression is definitely growing in Formula One. I think Drive to Survive has helped with growing the F1 audience in the US. But even so, going to a new track in Miami this weekend. So interesting to see what the weekend holds. Hopefully, we're in for a cracker. And we're in builds on what has already been a great season for Formula One, and I'm excited, really excited to see what this new Miami Grand Prix brings up. Obviously, there has been news about the fake marina, but putting that to one side, looking at the on boards online anyway, track looks okay. No, doesn't look too bad. I think there are certain sections of the track that reminds me of Singapore. But I just hope, fingers crossed, it's not another Valencia. Where, let's be honest, we didn't see many great races at the track at Valencia. So I'm hoping it's not another Valencia. Um, and Miami's, I believe, signed a 10-year deal to be in Formula One. So yeah, really hope it works out this weekend in Miami, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're in for a great Grand Prix this weekend. As I've already mentioned, what is shaping up to be a cracking 2022 season. You looking at the moment, it's looking like it's between Red Bull and Ferrari. But I believe Mercedes are due to bring some upgrades this weekend to Miami, so we'll see whether those upgrades work on a Mercedes. And yeah, so really intrigued to see how that goes. But actually, talking of that Ferrari and also Red Bull battle, looking at the track, who it might suit more. I think between Ferrari and Red Bull, in the quicker sections, I think potentially that may suit the Red Bull more. But then obviously within the track, there's also you've got those slow sections as well, which may suit Ferrari even more. So I think based on the track characteristics, based on the onboards that I've seen of the track, I think it'll be neck and neck between Ferrari and Red Bull, and I don't think there will be much to choose in between those two teams. We know there are drivers on the grid who go really well at street circuits, and yeah, I think we're going to be in for another great weekend. Fingers crossed. So going into the weekend with confidence, no doubt will be a Red Bull. Having had a 1-2 in Imola, and yeah, so a really good win for Max Verstappen. Fairly comfortable for him actually in the end. Having that teammate as his buffer on race day on Sunday anyway. But yeah, really good win for Max Verstappen. I think a much needed win for him and for Red Bull as well. Because prior to that weekend in Imola, yes, Max had one victory to 2022 already. Also two DNFs as well. So kind of need that win in Imola, and he got that win. So he'll definitely be going into Miami full of confidence. But I think also Sergio Perez as well. He's had a solid start to this year, and without issues in the opening race, and also that unfortunate circumstances in Saudi Arabia, Sergio might have found himself with more points at this stage. But as I say, he's done a good, solid job so far. His qualifying seems to have improved as well. I know he's still early on in the season so far, but Checo just seems to have so far anyway seems to have upped his game in qualifying, and that will be pleasing for Red Bull to have both their drivers right up there in qualifying. So that will be pleasing for them. But we also know Checo generally goes well around street circuits as well. Obviously we know what he's capable of in Azerbaijan. So no, I'm sure Checo will definitely rise to the challenge in Miami, and yeah, I think Red Bull they generally tend to go well at street circuits, so I wouldn't put it back past Red Bull to get another race win this weekend. But Ferrari will definitely have something to say about that. Two DNS now on track for Carlos Sainz, so he'll be definitely looking to get his season back on track, and yeah, definitely as a minimum I think be looking to be back up on that podium, and yeah, as it was supposed to be, Carlos would definitely want to celebrate his new 2-year deal with Ferrari, or his new deal, I should say, with Ferrari. In style in Imola, but just wasn't to be. And really unfortunate circumstances in which Carlos had to retire in Imola. But, but yeah, he'll definitely be looking to bounce back. And obviously, Charles Leclerc, still finding himself leading the drivers' championship. Made that mistake in Imola. So every mistake counts. So, but I'm sure Charles will learn from that. And we know how good a driver he is. So he will definitely be pumped up going into the weekend in Miami. So yeah, I think it's going to be evenly balanced and evenly poised between both Red Bull and Ferrari, and another intriguing battle awaits. So coming on to Mercedes, I mentioned earlier about potential upgrades for Mercedes this week, and so it'll be interesting to see whether those upgrades work or not. Um, whilst Lewis struggled last time out in Imola, wasn't the case for George Russell. Another fantastic drive from the youngster, and yeah, he just continues to drive the wheels off that Mercedes, even if it's not where it should be. But I think once Mercedes, um, I don't, I don't think get their act together is the right term, but once they are able to sort out their issues, then I genuinely do expect to see Mercedes rise up there, making it a three-way battle between themselves, Red Bull, and Ferrari, and that would be very exciting indeed. So, but as I say, George really does continue to he's continuing to drive the wheels off that Mercedes, and yeah, I'm just really interested, really intrigued to see how Lewis gets on this weekend, and not that he will have forgotten what's happened in Imola. What Miami will present him and also the team is a new opportunity, and a new opportunity for them to bounce back and pick up some strong points for the team. So I think one of the good things for Mercedes is the fact that reliability has been pretty strong for them actually. So whilst, as I say, they're not where they want to be right now in terms of the pace, reliability, I think at the Mercedes is there. So I don't think they should be too worried on that front in terms of reliability. Because so far anyway, I know it's only 4 races in, but so far, Mercedes haven't really had um, any reliability issues compared to Red Bull. Yeah, interesting to see how Mercedes get on this weekend. As for the battles behind those three teams, obviously Lando Norris will be coming on into the weekend on the back of a podium in Imola, so he will be pretty confident, I'm sure, of picking up of having a strong weekend and in Miami. And the thing with McLaren as well is that they have been making improvements. So as we know in Bahrain, they were way off the pace, had a really difficult weekend. But I think as the races have gone on, they've definitely shown improvements. So I would expect McLaren to have a strong showing in Miami. Whether the track suits their car, only time will tell. But considering the progress that they have made this season, I think McLaren could definitely be in for um, a strong weekend. I think a weekend Dan Ricciardo as well. He'll be looking to bounce back after disappointing Sunday anyway. Because on Friday and Saturday, actually, I thought Daniel had a pretty good weekend up until race down Sunday. So yes, Daniel will definitely be looking to bounce back and definitely get back in amongst the points this weekend in Miami, and we know how much Daniel loves the US as well. So yeah, I'm sure he will definitely um, savour the fact that Formula One is back in the US. So also we saw Aston Martin pick up their first points of the season last time out in Imola. So good to see them scoring points, and I'm hoping now that they can build on that, because up until Imola, very difficult start to the weekend, season, I should say, for Aston Martin. Obviously they're not where they want to be right now. But I think coming up to some street circuits now, I think that potentially that could suit the Aston Martin car. So we saw Sebastian finishing second in Azerbaijan last year. And generally, I think Lance Stroll and Sebastian actually they quite enjoy the street circuits as well, and they perform well as well at street circuits as well. I know Lance obviously has gone well at Azerbaijan as well in the past, so I think Aston Martin they'll be going to the weekend with some confidence anyway. After what they were able to achieve in at the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix last time out. And then also Alfa Romeo, got to give them a shout out. Valtteri Bottas just he really it does seem, I don't know, reborn, is that the right word? I think Valtteri he really is taking on that team leader role, and I think he's enjoying it. And seeing the snaps that seeing what he's doing on social, keeping track of his social media channels, looks like he's in a very good place. And you know what, I'm really happy for Valtteri. He seems like he's in a good place, and not just with the racing but also outside. Um, and Formula One as well. He just seems to be in a very good place right now. So I'm really happy with Valtteri. The fact that it seems to be, looking from the outside, looks like that he's in a pretty good place and he's doing well for himself. So yeah, and last time out he performed really well. He did have that issue in qualifying on Friday. Other than that, Valtteri had a solid race day on Sunday, and was able to also capitalise on other people's mistakes as well. So yeah, good to see them. Good to see Valtteri. Good to see Alfa Romeo performing as well as they are so far. Anyway, can they maintain that for the whole season? We'll have to wait and see. But I think the signs for races in are pretty good for Alfa Romeo, and good to see them doing well as well. So other bits of news as well. Porsche and Audi intend to both signal their intent to be in Formula One soon. More constructors in Formula One, I think, can only be a good thing for the sport. I know there's some talk about Porsche and Audi potentially buying into, or yeah, investing into one of the teams, or actually taking over one of the current teams. I'm not really in favour of that. But we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens on that front. But having big names, like Audi, like Porsche in Formula One, I think can only be a good thing. And if that does materialise, then I'm just really intrigued to see who would actually drive for those teams as well. So yeah, that's a very exciting prospect. The fact that Audi and Porsche are potentially coming into um, Formula One. I'm sure they'll definitely have some fans behind them. That's for sure. So predictions time now for Miami Grand Prix. Obviously there's no data to go off. And I can only really go on what I've seen on the onboards. That's now seeing how the track layout is. So I'm gonna go for A. I'm only saying this because he's a street specialist and he does like those street circuits. So I'm gonna go for a Sergio Perez win, Charles Leclerc to finish second, and I'm going to go for Max Verstappen to finish third. So I'm going to go for Perez win, Leclerc second, and Verstappen to finish third. So yeah, that is my prediction. And if you want to talk things Formula One, I'm on Twitter at Baggies20, and I'm also on Instagram, Manish Patel 89. enjoy the Miami Grand Prix, and I will catch up with you all soon when I do my review of the inaugural Miami Grand Prix. Take care, everyone.